In self development, you can place a daily bet on hearing someone say, people only understand things from their levels of awareness. But what does that mean in upgrading human language? It means you don't know what you don't know. So, why don't you know things? That's simple. Either you weren't taught them or you didn't believe in them, meaning it didn't seem possible, so you rejected it. It didn't seem relevant, so you dismissed it. It didn't seem interesting, so you ignored it. It didn't seem important, so you forgot it. It didn't agree with you, so you blocked it. However, the chips may have fallen, they all landed on you still don't know what you don't know. And what we cover here on Upgrading Human USA, you need to know. Hi, I'm Julie Oldberry, metaphysician, HR and local government transformation consultant, and America's mindset advocate. I created Upgrading Human USA for one reason because I believe. I believe it is your fundamental right as a human being in America to know how to think bolder, work better, and live freer. Something that isn't taught in schools, isn't promoted in workplaces, and isn't treasured by a nation. And I am so happy that you are in exactly the right time and space to start thinking differently, to think for yourself. All right, let's continue Upgrading Human USA. Today, we're talking about something that sounds simple, but is one of the most transformative skills you can develop: awareness. It's not just being awake or paying attention. Awareness is the foundation for every change you've ever made and everyone you've avoided. We were talking about those chips that had fallen around you, the ones that landed on you still don't know what you don't know. And now we're going to tie that back to the self development phrase people only understand things from their levels of awareness. So, what is this awareness? Well, the Cambridge English Dictionary defines awareness as knowledge that something exists or understanding of a situation or subject at the present time based on information or experience. Let me say that again: knowledge that something exists or understanding of a situation or subject at the present time based on information or experience. And in self development, knowledge is basically awareness. It's understanding your present time experience. So if we translate that into upgrading human language, we get three building blocks: understanding, which is your mental lens; present time, which is your now filter; and experience, which is your depth charge. So, first, let's talk about understanding, the mental lens. So, understanding is the meaning you make of what you notice. That's like when two people can see the exact same event and walk away with completely different interpretations because understanding is filtered through beliefs, conditioning, and personal history. So, if you want to upgrade your awareness, you have to be willing to check the quality of your understanding, not just the quantity of your knowledge. And meaninglessness is the starting line. What do I mean by that? Well, at the core, everything is fundamentally meaningless, but not in like a depressing, nothing matters, so why bother way. I just mean in a liberating, wide open possibility way. Like the events of your life, they don't come with built in captions telling you what they mean. That argument you had, that promotion you got, that time you were ignored in a meeting, none of those moments arrived preloaded with a fixed interpretation. They're just things that happened. The meaning only appeared when you assigned it. So, because you decide what things mean, you are the meaning maker. And this is where your power sits. Like I said, two people can experience the same moment, the same words, the same setting, the same tone, and walk away with two completely different takeaways. Why? Because meaning doesn't come from the moment, it comes from the mental lens you're looking through, your beliefs, your past experiences, your conditioning, and your current mood. In other words, understanding isn't collecting more truths from outside. It's recognizing that you are the one turning raw events into a personal narrative. So, how can you upgrade your lens? Well, you can upgrade when you accept that nothing has a fixed meaning until you decide what it means. Then you stop being at the mercy of events. You stop living on like autopilot and you stop recycling these old storylines. And instead, you just pause and ask, is the meaning I've given this helping or hurting me? Does it expand my possibilities or shrink them? If I could choose any meaning at all, what would move me forward? That's what upgrading awareness really is. Learning to choose better meanings. For example, I have this time recently, I was home, back home in my birth area of Massachusetts, and my brand new car, it was, not in a garage, but one day I went out, went to start it, and all the lights started going on, and then the car just started like violently shaking. And I'm like, oh my God, this can't be good. So, anyway, I shut the car off. Obviously, there's an issue. I get it towed to the dealer there. And I'm thinking, like, oh, whatever. I'm not even going to worry about this because it's seriously a brand new car. And, I know I didn't do anything to it. So it must just be a mechanical, you know, malfunction. And they'll either fix it, it'll be covered under warranty, or I'll drive away with another new car. So, but as it would turn out, um, the wires on my car were made of soy, and some type of rodents enjoyed a nice meal. And $1,500 later, that was not covered. I had a bill. And in that moment, I could have been like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. Like, I have $1,500 that I have to spend. But instead, I just told myself a different story about it. I just imagined that there's like this younger kid there, Tyler, and he's got to work on my car. And once he does this, complex re-hooking of the wires or whatever, that he can get this promotion or he can go and apply for, a job at another dealership that he's been eyeing or whatnot. But I changed that into an investment in his future. Now, I don't know. There's no Tyler that exists as far as I know, but that's the story that I told myself, and I felt just better about the whole situation. I'm like, oh, okay, this makes me happier. So now when I think about this, I don't think about some animals chewing up my wires. I think about you know, having been able to contribute to somebody's professional growth. So, there's a lot of ways that you can um, take this meaning thing, how you want to make things mean. And that's just one practical example of what I had done. So then the second component we're talking about is the present time, this now filter. So, like, awareness isn't a memory, it's alive in the present moment. Like, for example, you can't be aware yesterday and you can't be aware for tomorrow, right? The mind is a time traveler. It loves to replay the past like a greatest hits album. Only half the songs are like regrets, rewinds, and what ifs. Or it jumps into the future, like one of those choose your own adventure books where you're like flipping ahead to the scary parts or skipping to the imagined happy ending. But awareness is the friend that sits across from you at the table, makes eye contact, and says, hey, this right now, this is the moment that matters. In metaphysics, the now isn't just important, it's the only point of power. It's the only place you can actually think, choose, or act. Like the past has no handles you can grab, and the future hasn't materialized yet. But right now, you can see, you can decide, and you can move. You can take any action. When you live here in the real time now, life stops being something that happens to you and it starts being something you're actively engaged with in like every breath, in every glance, in every choice. And then the third component, experience, I call this the depth charge, right? Information alone doesn't create awareness. Like you can read about swimming, but you don't become a swimmer until your like body is in the water and you're like, you know, doing the doggy paddle like I do. Experience is the depth charge because it detonates beneath your surface, right? Awareness that's gained from books or talks stays at the surface as concepts, but experience allows things to drop deeper into feeling, memory, and embodiment. So suddenly it's not just like an idea, but it's a part of you. And it's also a depth charge because it expands outward. So, like a charge underwater, that shock wave kind of spreads. So, one lived experience can reframe dozens of beliefs at once. Like, think of the moment when you realized you could ride a bike without training wheels. It didn't just change how you biked, it like changed your sense of confidence everywhere. All right. And then the depth structure, it breaks old structures. I'm sorry, the depth charge, it breaks old structures. The habit of not knowing what you don't know is like a hardened shell. Information's like tapping at it, experience cracks it open. A direct encounter with the unfamiliar forces the mind to reorganize. And in that reorganization, new levels of awareness emerge. So that's why experience is the depth charge. Once you've lived it, you can't unknow it. It anchors awareness so deeply that your worldview can't unsee it. So when you combine these three, understanding, present time, and experience, you start getting out of the habit of not knowing what you don't know. You begin to recognize blind spots. You catch yourself dismissing something just because it feels strange. You notice when you've been running on old programming. And well, most importantly, you become open to the idea that there's more, you know? And here's a metaphysical bottom line. Your awareness sets the borders of your reality. If you want a bigger, freer, more fulfilling life, you have to widen your awareness. You have to stay in the habit of not knowing and your life will keep circling the same block. But when you step into the habit of seeking what you don't know yet and suddenly whole new maps of reality appear. So, for the next 7 days, I challenge you. Notice when you hit the edge of your awareness, and instead of turning back, take one step further. Ask one more question. Look one layer deeper. Try one thing you've never tried before. Awareness isn't just something you have, like that you have, it's something you grow. And like the more you grow it, the more of the life you can actually live.